overview of Spanish history, covering key events, cultural developments, and significant figures across the centuries. The Iberian Peninsula, home to modern-day Spain and Portugal, was inhabited by a variety of cultures long before the Romans arrived. Indigenous groups included the Iberians and the Celts. The region also saw influences from Phoenician and Greek traders, who established colonies along the coast. Around 218 BC, during the Second Punic War, the Romans began to conquer the peninsula, eventually turning it into a vital part of the Roman Empire known as Hispania. This era saw the introduction of Roman law, language, Latin, and infrastructure, such as roads and aqueducts. Christianity began to spread in the 1st and 2nd centuries AD, deeply influencing the region's culture and society. Following the decline of the Roman Empire, the Visigoths, a Germanic tribe, took control of Hispania around 409 AD. The Visigothic kingdom, with its capital in Toledo, ruled until the early 8th century. This period was characterized by the blending of Roman and Germanic cultures, and Latin continued to be the dominant language. In 711, Muslim forces from North Africa, consisting mainly of Berbers and Arabs, invaded the Iberian Peninsula. By 718, they had conquered most of it, establishing the province of Al-Andalus. This period lasted until the late 15th century and was known for its significant advancements in science, mathematics, medicine, and architecture. The city of Córdoba, in particular, became a center of learning and culture, hosting a remarkable library and the Great Mosque of Córdoba. The Reconquista was a protracted series of campaigns by Christian states in the north to reclaim territory from Muslim rule. It began shortly after the Muslim conquest and lasted until 1492, when the Catholic monarchs, Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile, captured the Nasrid Kingdom of Granada, the last Muslim stronghold on the peninsula. The marriage of Ferdinand and Isabella unified Spain under Catholic rule and marked the beginning of Spain's Golden Age. In 1492, Christopher Columbus, sponsored by these monarchs, reached the Americas, opening the way for Spanish colonization. This ushered in an era of immense wealth and global influence, as Spain established vast empires in the Americas, Asia, and Africa. During the 16th and early 17th centuries, Spain became the dominant European power under rulers like Charles V and Philip II. It was marked by strong Catholic influence through the Spanish Inquisition, and influx of wealth were brought by silver and gold from the colonies. By the late 17th century, Spain's power began to wane due to several factors: draining wars, economic problems, and the independence of several American colonies. The Spanish Armada's defeat in 1588 and the costly 30 Years' War further strained resources. Spain suffered political instability and a gradual economic decline, allowing other European powers, like England and France, to rise. In the early 18th century, the War of the Spanish Succession, 1701–1714, resulted in the Bourbon family taking the Spanish throne, beginning with Philip V. The Bourbons implemented significant reforms aimed at modernizing the economy, administration, and society, similar to what had occurred in France. From 1808 to 1814, Spain was embroiled in the Peninsular War against Napoleonic France, leading to widespread devastation and economic disruption. The conflict also ignited independence movements in Latin American colonies, many of which successfully achieved independence by the 1820s. Spain experienced continual political instability in the 19th century, characterized by frequent changes in government, from absolutist monarchies to liberal constitutions. The Carlist Wars, civil wars between supporters of competing branches of the Spanish royal family, also exemplified this turbulence. Efforts at modernization and secularism often clashed with traditionalist and conservative elements within Spanish society. By the end of the 19th century, Spain's empire was largely reduced to a few colonies. The Spanish-American War in 1898 resulted in the loss of Spain's remaining significant colonies, including Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Philippines, and Guam, significantly marking the end of its imperial era. The early 20th century was marked by continued social unrest, economic challenges, and an unstable political landscape. The Spanish Civil War concluded in April 1939, resulting in the victory of Francisco Franco's nationalist forces. Franco established an authoritarian regime characterized by repression of dissent, strict censorship, and significant control over many aspects of life. During Franco's rule, 1939 to 1975, Spain experienced. Initially, Spain faced economic isolation due to its alliances with Nazi Germany during World War II. After the war, the country struggled economically, experiencing famine, poverty, and emigration. However, the 1950s began a period of economic recovery known as the Spanish Miracle, characterized by industrialization and foreign investment. This transformation led to a significant increase in GDP and urbanization. Franco's regime imposed strict censorship and suppressed regional identities, particularly in Catalonia and the Basque Country. The regime enforced a rigid moral code based on Catholicism, leading to the suppression of freedoms regarding expression, association, and assembly. In the 1950s, Spain sought to broaden its international relations. It allied with the United States, signing the Madrid Pact in 1953, which allowed U.S. military bases in Spain in exchange for economic and military aid. This contributed to Spain's gradual reintegration into the international community.